So wherever I am, whatever's happening in my life, I could be sick, I could be in the worst phase of my life, I could be emotionally tortured or torn apart, but something that I do not stop doing is that I give myself that time, which is just me and my relationship with my own body.
This is episode number 31 of The Inspiring Talk with nutritionist Nidhi, Mohan, Kamal. Welcome guys to The Inspiring Talk. My name is Vijay Gautam. I'm host for this show. Each week I interview today's most successful and inspiring personalities to help you realize your inner potential. Welcome guys to this episode of the Inspiring Talk podcast. I am very pumped for my guest Nidhi Mohan Kamal. Nidhi is a nutritionist and fitness expert based in South Delhi. She is director of an organization called Nidsun Wellness, which helps people with non-invasive body shaping, diet plans and online fitness programs. She is a certified fitness trainer with a specialization in training for special needs. She is a Puma Athlete and trainer. She has been personal training many special needs clients one-on-one. In terms of fitness and exercise, she has been working out last 17 years and has learned functional, weight training, yoga and various dance styles. She is brand ambassador of Puma Do You in India along with Jacqueline Fernandez, Kalki Koechlin Liza Haydon, Sakshi Malik and others, and was part of their Guinness World Record plank. You might have seen or read about Nidhi on national newspapers such as Times of India, Deccan Chronical, India Times, among many others. In this episode, you will learn how you can get started with whole nutrition thing if you are completely new to this, body shaping or losing fat using fat freezing technology, which is a very good non-invasive alternate to liposuction, how to build and maintain lean muscle on vegan diet, building a brand that celebrities want to work with, and much more. I enjoyed a lot having this conversation with first guest from wellness industry, and I hope you will as well. Now, before I welcome Nidhi, I would like to read review of the week for this podcast. Arvind Sharma on Castbox writes, I have been listening to this podcast for a while now, and I absolutely loved every single episode. Vijay is an amazing host who brings pure value to listeners. I have learned a lot from this podcast. Keep up the great work. Thanks. Thank you so much, Arvind, for kind review, and I really appreciate you for taking time to listen to this podcast and finding some information. Guys, if you are new and have not subscribed to the show, make sure that you do it on your podcast app. And if you have been listening to this for some time now, make sure that you review the show and I will give you shout out in upcoming episodes. And don't forget to take a screenshot of this episode right now and post it on your Instagram story. And don't forget to tag me @Vijay Speaks and Nidhi @Nidhi Mohan Kamal. Without further ado, let me welcome the one and only Nidhi Mohan Kamal. Welcome back inside this episode, guys. I am joined today by Nidhi Mohan Kamal. Nidhi, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Awesome. It's an honor to have you here. So I have been following you for quite some time now on Instagram, and you would love, I haven't shared with you this, how I have found about you.
And oh, that's interesting. I want to know that story first.
Yeah. So it's through #ADHM.
Oh.
Does that sound anything to you? Mean anything to you?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Delhi Half Marathon. Okay.
Yeah, I was posting my own picture from Delhi Half Marathon, and I wanted to check other posts and people with that hashtag, and realized you were the same person on that warm-up stage before the event started. And since then I have been following you, and so power of hashtags on Instagram, so great discovery tool. So that's how that's how I found you, and I'm glad that you used that hashtag and I got to know more about you, and eventually you are on the show. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you. Honored, and I'm like still zapped hearing that story.
Yeah. So last night, I was watching your vlog about recent trip to Germany. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty interesting to see you pulling out your yoga mat and doing some stretching on your transit at Istanbul. Do you always do that on a transit?
Yeah, I actually do that kind of almost on a transit because, long haul flights and, those many hours of sitting, I really get cramped. And I think it's good. I mean, medically, it's good to move around and do a little bit of stretching because for the next leg of the journey, it energizes me. And I'm not as tired when I reach. So I kind of do that always. So my hand baggage always has a yoga mat.
Wow, that's awesome. So, Nidhi, you work with top brands and celebrities and inspire many people every single day to eat better and stay fit. And you started this journey 9 years back, right?
Yes. 9 years back is my journey when I started our own brand. But yeah, workouts I've been doing for about 15, 16 years.
Wow. So, please share a bit about where were you 9 years back? What were you doing? And all those kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. I'll try to make it a little short because clearly I can talk for hours, so I'm not going to do that. But I don't know for how many people know that I'm actually a food scientist. So I started my career working in the processed food industry, and 2 years down the line, I realized that processed food industry is nothing about health. And the first product that I ever worked on was supposedly a health product, but the only thing we would talk about, in the R&D would be taste and shelf life, and nobody would ever worry about nutrition or, what impact does all the chemicals that you're putting in would have on your health. So I just realized that, I was not in the right field. And that's when I switched jobs and I joined another very good multinational, which supposedly was supposed to be a health company, because they were actually a medical company. So then I realized that then I got to work with a lot of doctors and surgeons and understand that aspect of the health industry, which is like hospital and back end. And then I realized that that industry kind of works on sickness. So, I mean, I was a food scientist and I had a nutrition background, and my brother was a sports physician. He was already doing his MD in sports medicine. So, we both decided, nobody is working on preventive medicine. Nobody's working on making people fit in terms of them not getting sick at all, so that they would need a hospital. And we realized that food is one of the major factors why people are getting sick. So that's where we wanted to work on. And that's how Nidsun was born. And we initially started off by giving people, diet modifications, and then some body sculpting happened. And yeah, that's where it started. And now it's grown from that level to another level. But yeah, that's where the journey started.
Yeah, for sure. It has grown and you have taken it to the whole new level, many life transformed along the way. And we are definitely going to talk about that as we move along. So, and I think your dad has also some kind of background in the same kind of stuff since, I see a lot of your posts on Instagram, he giving you a very, good hair massage.
So basically, my dad's an ex-army doctor. He's a cardiologist. He was with the armed medical forces, and so he has a similar background. But before that, before joining army, my dad was a bodybuilder.
Oh,
so yeah.
there's there's where you get inspiration for bodybuilding and all that.
Yeah, he never wanted both of us to kind of do it, me and my brother, but then we followed that dream any which way. But yeah, my dad, again, dad now also believes in a lot of preventive medicine and a lot of things which, don't. So if there's some patient who would ideally require a surgery, my dad would be like, let's just work around medicines and see if the person can do without a surgery. And my brother would work on something like, let's just do food and see if he doesn't need a medicine. So that's that's how the whole family operates.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm so glad to know that. And thanks for sharing. And since you said, trying to get or help people to get rid of disease or problems without doing surgery, and you were among the very first few people bringing cryolipolysis or fat freezing technique in India. So could you talk about what is it and how this body shaping technique works and its benefits over, other surgical procedures such as liposuctions and some other?
Okay, so since you've already talked a little about liposuction, I will go back to history. Say about 6, 7 years ago, if somebody had to lose particular fat pocket, you could not do that. You know that spot reduction cannot happen. Your body decides where it loses fat from. So with a good lifestyle and an exercise regime, you will lose weight or you will lose fat percentage, but the body will decide where it goes from. Hypothetically speaking, if you are a size um, medium and you want to lose a couple of kgs, you might become a small, but if abdomen was your problem area, would still be a problem area. Like you would still have extra flab around that. And if you wanted to correct that a couple of years ago, the option was available to you was liposuction. Now, liposuction is a full-blown surgical procedure. It has its own complications. What is the worst thing that can happen to you is that you can die on the table. Complications can be from anything from anesthesia to in between this procedure and post-surgical complications like infections, etc. And we do know that some of the tragedies have happened in the past with liposuction because, there's a post-surgical care, which is like 6 weeks. And if you don't take care of yourself, you can have n number of problems. So there wasn't anything in the market which kind of fixed this problem, barring those, ancient techniques that these weight loss centers were doing, like, pads with like vibration. And we clearly know that none of those things worked. So in the market, there were only a couple of procedures which were FDA approved and which had been subjected to gold standard medical studies where they had proven them to be like, effective and safe. So fat freezing is one of them. So this one is based on the principle that the melting point of fat and water is different. So fat in your body is present in terms of cells. It's not like they show in the sauna belt advertisements. You heat up and it's like a butter, it's going to melt, but that doesn't happen, right? So fat is present inside fat cells. So what cryolipolysis does is that it freezes the fat cells physically, and over a period of say about 45 to 90 days, what you see is that these fat cells get removed from the body because they die. So that's the whole idea behind it, and it's considered to be pretty safe, barring some bruising that can happen during the session because of the pressure injury. There's a vacuum involved. There's no complication as such.
So what I have understood from what you have just shared about this technique is you are just, using some kind of equipments or instruments, and please correct me if I'm wrong. So it seems to me that, you are using these instruments or whatever, your procedure is, and you are trying to freeze the, subcutaneous fat tissue that's just underlying the skin, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So we're using a machine which, the probe has a little bit of a vacuum. So you can isolate a fat pocket from the body cavity, protecting the skin with a layer of antifreeze. You can freeze a fat pocket. And this is subcutaneous fat completely.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Then the death of that particular tissue happens and then it's gone.
Yes, it's gone. It's a microphage activity. It does happen over a period of a month, 45 days, but it goes away eventually, and the results are pretty permanent.
Oh, awesome. Is it like worth doing for any amount of fat, or how does that work for like, or what are the different locations that could be applied, or where you cannot be applying this technique, or how does this work?
Okay, so of course you mentioned that subcutaneous fat, and of course there you have to have that amount of fat to lose it on the particular area, and understand that this is not a weight loss procedure, so you can't expect a lot of weight loss to happen from fat freezing. This is meant for problem areas, like a little bit of something here, or you find your arms is a very common area for women to do it, because a lot of women complain that they can't wear like cut sleeve tops because arms are a little bigger, or some people have inner thighs which kind of bother them even during their workouts, so they want to get that particular pocket gone. So we do it on thighs. Of course, abdomen is the most common area to do it, but we do it on the back, we do it on arms, and these are the areas where you can do it. So mostly you can do it on every area. But yeah, the idea is you should be able to pinch that particular fat pocket.
Awesome. So are there any damage or effect, maybe temporary or permanent, on the overlying skin?
Yeah, as I said earlier, there's a vacuum involved to pull out the fat pocket from the body cavity because it's safer to do cryo that way. So if you're pulling the skin and if your skin is a little too sensitive, you might have a little bit of bruising from the vacuum, not from the freezing bit, but yeah, from the vacuum you can get a little bit of bruising, and that subsides between 3 to 4 days. So yeah.
Okay, so there is nothing like permanent thing.
No. There's no permanent complication unless the procedure is not done right, of course. There can be. But yeah, if it's done properly, then nothing besides a little bit of redness in your skin.
So let's switch a bit of gear to Nidhi, Mohan, Kamal as a nutritionist. So there might be people out there listening to us who wants to start eating better and ready to change, but have no idea about where to start. So what would you suggest where a newbie to whole nutrition thing can start?
As I always say, and even our programs called Desi Muscles, it's called that because we believe in the Indian food. We believe in food that we've been eating all our lives. And, suddenly there is this influx of so much of information. So suddenly you see everyone talking about supplements and this and that. And I would generally like to quote it to anyone and say that, if you can eat what your parents ate when they were kids, you're going to be just fine. So yeah, the first thing you need to do if you want to make a radical change in your life is that you go a little simple with what you eat and just leave the complications out. And just to give you a very simple example, a lot of people ask me bread versus roti, which one's better? And the obvious answer is roti because, it's made from scratch. There's no chemical, there's no processing. So why are we discussing brown bread or white bread? I mean, why aren't we discussing roti versus bread? So yeah, these are the small changes you can make in your life. Like the simpler you eat, the more comfortable you would be.
So I'm interested in knowing, what does your morning drink consist? Is it some kind of tea or shake or anything like that?
I am a tea lover. So yeah, my morning drink definitely is tea. Since I'm a vegan, I don't really use a lot of milk in it. Sometimes it's soy milk, sometimes it's just black tea, sometimes it's almond milk or anything of that sort. But yeah, I'm definitely a tea person. And besides that, my breakfast is pretty much what normal Indian breakfast looks like. If you have seen my Instagram, you would know.
Yeah. Methi ka paratha. I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So oftentimes, we see people getting their supplements without consulting experts, and they might be, taking those they don't even need,
Yes.
So is there a way to find what I'm missing in my diet and what I need, or maybe any specific clinical test or something like that on that note?
Supplement, again, is a very touchy subject for me. It's just that, the whole supplement industry has convinced everyone so much that, you're deficient in something that what is really required and what is necessary vis-a-vis what is being sold out is a very confusing game now. As you rightly said, that is there a way to know what you're deficient at? Yes, there's a way to know. And of course, you can undergo blood tests and you can figure out, if you're deficient in some vitamin, you can possibly, supplement your diet with that particular thing. But more or less, I'll go back. If you're eating healthy, balanced Indian meals made from scratch, very less processed food, I think you'll be sorted for the most part. But if there is an issue that can be figured out, it can only be figured out clinically.
I see. So once you figure that out, right? So I have these deficiencies and I have these problems with me. So what is the best way to take on that? Because, if somebody go and, and their doctor or the clinical result shows that they have some certain kind of, nutrition deficient in them.
Yep.
So, people start taking all of it, without like having that kind of limit. So what do you want to say about that?
Yeah, I think if you've been diagnosed with a deficiency, the best person to go and ask for is, of course, your doctor, because they know best. So, since you already said that people start taking whatever, The whole nutraceutical industry where stuff is sold over the counter again pushes you to buy more of their product by convincing you that you're deficient in this, and also the whole nutraceutical industry and the whole supplement industry, so to speak, is not very regulated because the norms for their quality are not very stringent, and I'm talking about the best of countries in the world don't have that stringent norms, and let's not even go what happens to Indian brands. So yeah, that's where my concern is. If somebody has a deficiency, I would rather ask them to go to a doctor, get a prescription, and get a pharma grade supplement, which would at least you be sure of what's going inside your system.
Let's talk about meals, right? What is your suggestion, or what do you think is a good way to have meal? Is it shorter, numerous meals, or 3 good amount of meal in a day?
Okay, recently again, there's this trend of eating every 2 hours, which works for some people and might not work for another. How many number of meals you should have in a day? Ideally, I think 3 plus possibly 1 snack is okay. But again, this is something which is going to be very individualistic because the insulin response and the glucose levels in the body with each person will differ with their hormones. So there are people with whom we work 3 meals and they work fine for them. There are people with them we need to do 5 meals a day. So it depends on how your metabolism is and how your body responds. And also how much is your activity level and what your complete lifestyle is. So I don't know if I have the right answer because it will not be a one size fit all answer.
So it's person specific.
Yes.
Whether it depends on numerous factors, as you said, like surge of insulin and maybe hunger and all those kind of stuff. So and let's talk about fasting. Do you fast?
Lately I haven't done that, but I used to.
Would you like to talk a bit about why, or maybe is it even worth fasting, or how is it helpful for us to have occasionally fasting?
See, there's no doubt that fasting has its own benefits because fasting. Let's talk about why we used to fast in the first place. In our Indian, whether you talk about the Hindu or whether you talk about other religions, there is fasting in almost every religion. And this is very scientific because it was like kind of a detox. During most of the Hindu fasts, at least, you only have fruits, you only have milk. Now, if in a particular day you're not consuming anything, but you are having fruits, or you're just consuming 1 meal a day, you're doing a lot of good things to your body and the environment. The idea of every fasting is, of course, one is to learn how to, give up things, because tyag is a very huge thing when it comes to fasting. That's what every religion also talks about. So it teaches you patience. It teaches you, how to give up things for something that matters to you. Of course, that's a spiritual aspect of it. But if you talk scientifically, when you fast for a prolonged period of time, your insulin becomes more efficient. So there is that benefit. And of course, if you're fasting with fruits, though I do not recommend that you go for detoxes, but every now and then, occasionally, if you fast and if you go on an all fruit kind of a diet, now fruits do not require liver when they're metabolized. So, your liver is actually resting. So that's why it's called a detox. So all our fasts are kind of detoxes because, they give rest to your liver. So yeah, fasting does have its own benefits, not just spiritual, not just to the environment, but also to your metabolism.
I have seen on one of your Facebook posts about cutting sugar challenge. So how to get out of sugar carbing?
See, willpower, of course, takes up a huge space in that. Sugar, when somebody walks in and says, and I would tell them that, you need to cut down on your sugar. And they're like, oh, but how do you survive? But, you need to be normal. One has to understand that sugar is not a nutrient. It's a result of, again, a processed food industry. 100 years ago, 200 years ago, probably sugar didn't even exist. It was made as a fast-acting carbohydrate that you could quickly mix in your drink. And yeah, it's highly processed, it's bleached, it's not required, and it gives you a sudden surge in your blood sugar, which is why it is responsible for weight gain as well. And so many studies have shown that sugar is actually inflammatory and it leaches out a lot of minerals from your body. So yeah, sugar definitely is not something which, first you have to understand that it's not a nutrient. So if you're skipping it out, you're actually not missing out on any, nutrition, so to speak. Having said that, with so many temptations around you, chocolates, candies, this, that, and everything technically has sugar. It's kind of hard to give up, but you can only do that if you are focused enough, you're motivated enough to do it, and secondly, if you have enough support to do it. None of the challenges, none of the programs, or none of the diet programs are ever going to work for you if you do it all by yourself. You have to have a support system to kind of stop you. Everyone has sugar cravings. I have sugar cravings, and I mean, I've kept a bar of chocolate in my office desk and it's there right now.
Yeah.
But I also I know that I have to have one piece, and there are times when I'm stressed and I'm tempted to have one more. And I've told everyone in my staff that, you know what, my daily quota is one. If I'm having a second one, you will stop me.
Okay.
So you need to have that
accountability
system.
And maybe if you want to cut that down, or if you are consuming like 10 every single day, and you can cut that down to 5 or maybe 2, and then eventually eventually you can do that. And another technique that some people share that I think that works is like moving that from your refrigerator to somewhere else, that it does just don't come on your eye contact, or that you don't see on a regular basis.
For me that doesn't work, because
I have to find
2 o'clock at night. No, 2 o'clock at night, if I wake up and I want chocolate, and if I've hidden it in a drawer, I will wake up from my sleep and aim for that drawer. So I think the best is not to buy it, not to stock it at home.
Yeah. Now, Nidhi, let's switch a gear and let's talk about building business and brand, since you have been, doing it for quite some time, and now you have taken your company to a next level. So how to build a business, brand that celebrities are interested to work with?
I don't know if I'm going to still answer this question properly, or, whether what I'm saying or what I believe in is kind of correct. But yeah, 9 years into the business, I can assure you one thing, that there are a lot of businesses that open each year, with very high expectations and, with aiming pretty high. But most of them are, based on a certain number coming out of it. Understand one thing, that you can only help people, and money is going to be a byproduct. And I still say it, money is going to be a byproduct. If you're helping enough people and they're happy with you, brand will be a byproduct, money will be a byproduct. It will just follow. So yeah, you just have to, firstly, don't start something you don't believe in. And if you have started it, just be at it till you make the other person, especially your customer, very, very happy. And if you're making them happy, then you're already building a brand, which will happen pretty automatically, and money is going to follow. So that's my philosophy.
Yeah, obviously, I love that. And maybe you want to, give some free, service to maybe first couple of people, or maybe a dozen of people, and ask them, how is it going, and are you loving this? And then get constant feedback from them, and offer them service, and it's gonna grow organically. And I think that's how you have built your own brand.
But I think first couple of years for any brand are very hard. They've been very, very hard for us as well. And we at Nidsun struggled for the first 2 years to just survive in the business. And, the current economic situation, everyone knows about the market, so unstable. I mean, every now and then you have rules changing, you have things happening. Most businesses are going out because of all the, changes that are happening in our economy. But, everything said and done, yeah, you have to put in loads and loads of hard work, and you have to be really at it. And giving up should not be an option. So, if you're going to do something thinking that, okay, if this doesn't work out, that will happen, I think that's a very bad place to be in. You have to, if you're going to start something, then please burn all the bridges behind you, because there's no looking back.
Yeah, so it's like, nothing's going to turn overnight, or you are not going to get anything overnight.
Yeah.
It's a long game, right? So you got to be on the game for a long time, and you got to be, being there on the game, even if it's the tough day, or even if it's not your day. And if you believe in that mission, and if you believe that this is something that's, that's gonna, help you, or that's gonna take you to another level, then you're gonna stick to that. That's amazing. So could you share a bit about what your organization Nidsun is all about, and some of the work this organization is doing?
Absolutely. So Nidsun is all about wellness. So you in the wellness space, you talk about anything, and we kind of do it. We do body shaping, as we've discussed already. We do online diet and workout plans for clients who are not just in India but based anywhere in the world. And our programs are very popular with Indians staying abroad, because they get access to an Indian nutritionist working for them, according to their lifestyles and their body types. And also we do a lot of, I'm sure you're aware of the kind of, the content and information generation that we're doing in different social media handles as well. But yeah, talk about anything in the wellness space, be it to do with your body shaping, be it to do with, we do radio frequency facials also, which is kind of like, again, non-invasive Botox. So yeah, anything in the non-invasive wellness preventive space, all of that is covered at Nidsun.
Nothing about tearing you up.
No, we don't
tearing and cutting you up. Yeah.
No, nothing of that sort.
Yeah. So it's all about, and mostly I think I believe that you work on our natural products, and most importantly, not only natural products, but something that are available at home,
yes,
that are already at your sitting at your rack or somewhere on the shelves.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So awesome. So I have few questions left for you, Nidhi. So one thing that I want to ask you is some questions, or maybe one question, or maybe a couple of questions that you wish your clients would ask you, but they never ask you. So are there any of those questions, and can you answer them?
Oh, well, my clients ask me so many questions, so
there is nothing left.
There is anything left in that space. But yeah, there are times when I do have people who would, hold back and presume a certain things. In fact, I find that people who ask too many questions and, bug me too much with phone calls and, messages and emails are the ones who have best results, because, they're more curious to kind of clear out every doubt they have. So I think if you are taking a program from somebody, if you're working with your nutritionist, please ask them as many questions as you feel like. Let them be as silly as you think they are. Trust me, it's going to add to you.
Yeah, obviously. Be curious and open to learning, and listen to your nutritionist, obviously. Yeah. So, Nidhi, I have asked some of my listeners on Instagram and on Facebook and other different platforms, if, what would they ask if they get opportunity to talk to a nutritionist and a fitness expert, and they have sent me some questions. This one comes from Sasank on Instagram.
Wow.
So he asked, how to build lean muscle with a vegan diet?
Wow, that's an excellent question. So, when we talk about, so there's, again, protein is something which is sold to us like nobody's business. I mean, we're made to believe that, you're protein deficient. An Indian diet is protein deficient. So yeah, I think that's one thing that you need to throw out of the window, that, first of all, that's not true. Secondly, if you're trying to work on a vegan diet, understand one thing, that vegan food will have enough protein that is required, but that protein will come with a little bit of bulk. When I say bulk, it means fiber. So if you want to build your muscle on vegan protein, it's not a problem at all. But if you're a meat eater, migrating from being a meat eater to vegan will take a little bit of work. And that's because you need to gradually make your stomach, your system, your digestive system used to that kind of bulk being added to your system suddenly. Barring that change, there's no dearth of strength, or there's no dearth of protein in a vegan diet. And to, your benefit, mostly Indian food is 100% vegan. So, you can still continue to have your regular Indian food and still be a vegan.
Yeah, and still you can build a lean muscle.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So one thing is like building up or gaining up lean muscle with a vegan diet, and another thing is maintaining that shape, with the diet. So any tips on that line or on that note, how one can maintain, once you have reached the kind of muscle gain that you want to have, and after that you want to maintain that. So any tips on that?
See, obviously, when you're trying to gain muscle and you're on hypertrophy, you eat more calories, you lift heavier, you do lesser reps, you're more sore, and you're pushing yourself to the next level. Once you think you've reached there, you can, maintain your calorie intake to what is required for your BMR. And plus, in terms of workout, also maybe not pushing yourself too much, but like a little push. And I think you're mostly there. In our brains, we all know what is too much and what is okay. So, yeah.
So another one comes from Sovna on Facebook, and she actually asked two questions. So first is what I should take in summer so that I can put on weight.
She wants to put on weight?
Yeah.
Okay. I think, again, if you can increase your portion sizes, but stay in the same, there's nothing I can say that you have this and you will gain weight. Stay in your portion sizes, maybe increase a little bit of protein intake by adding more dals, by adding more whole grains to your diet. That's one good place to be. And please do not eat, high fat milk with banana, because that doesn't work. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, she also asked another question, and this is like how I can keep my skin glowing in summer, or maybe foods that helps you in getting your skin that kind of glow.
Oh, I don't know what glowing skin is, but yeah, but if you're drinking enough water, firstly, when it's summer, though there isn't, how much water to drink. Again, the right answer lies with your activity level and how much you sweat. But I think 3 liters minimum 3 liters to begin with is a good place to be. It'll not only take care of your good skin, but also reduce hair fall. So skin and hair both can be taken care of. And as far as glowing skin is concerned, I think if you're not deficient in vitamin E, your skin is going to be glowing anyways. So, a lot of omega-3, make sure you're having enough almonds, you're having some flax seeds. Yeah, I think you should be sorted if you have almonds, walnuts, and some good seed.
Amazing. Nidhi, now it's time for enlightening round. But before we head on to that round, is there anything that you'd like to share that we have not discussed yet about food or nutrition in general?
I think we've covered mostly. And again, nutrition is a topic, and we can literally go on talking for hours, and probably this podcast will be 2 days.
Yeah.
But we can't do that.
Yeah, sure.
So.
Okay. So are you excited about the enlightening round?
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
So Nidhi, what inspires you to do everything that you do?
I think inspiration is something which can be short term, and a lot of people talk about motivation and they say, oh, what motivates you? Honestly, motivation also is a very short term thing. You could be motivated, you could be not. There to so many things, but life happens to you. So many things on your personal front, your business professional front, your friends can happen, which can really throw you out of proportion. I really don't believe in inspiration, but I believe in goals. So if the only thing that I think keeps me going is the fact that, I have a goal, and I keep making sure that, once I've achieved something, I always have the next level to look forward to. So I think, my goals keep me going.
Which one daily habit do you believe has been game changer for you in your success journey?
I think consistency, right? So yeah, as you would know about my Desi muscle move as well, there are days, everyone looks at you and they say, okay, you're blessed, you have genetics, and, you have this body because, you were like born with it. And of course, nobody's born with it. It took years to build it the way it is, or it took, a lot of energy. And of course, it's not, a couple of months of work, it's years and years of work. And I think that's what even Desi Muscle Move is all about, that, it's that promise to myself that, I'm going to give myself, my body, time, if not an hour in a day, possibly 5 minutes, 15 minutes. That's why you asked me about the yoga mat question as well. So wherever I am, whatever's happening in my life, I could be sick, I could be in the worst phase of my life, I could be emotionally tortured or torn apart, but something that I do not stop doing is that I give myself that time, which is just me and my relationship with my own body. And yeah, that could be a 5-minute workout, that could be yoga. I mean, it could be anything, but that's just one part of my day that I just have promised myself to give.
Which one book, according to you, is a must read for everyone looking to make their life better?
Well, there are so many of them, but
maybe your favorite, maybe your personal favorite.
One book that I almost read and reread every year, and every year I read it gives me a different meaning, is Alchemist. Because
powerful.
I love the fact that book gives me kind of hope, because I love the fact that how you end up in the same place where you began, and the irony of the whole thing, and how you have to go through life to achieve what you wanted. So I think that keeps me going, and I like happy endings. So that's it's like that. What do you say? There was a very famous very famous Hindi movie dialogue also, no? जब तक सब कुछ ठीक ना हो वो एंड नहीं है ना, पिक्चर अभी बाकी है मेरे तो.
If you were to start this success journey all over again, so what are those 3 things that you think you could have done differently, or maybe those things that you wish you would have known early in your life?
Well, I am a firm believer of the fact that everything that happens for a reason. So I really don't live with any regrets. But if there's one thing I could have, if there's one advice I could have given to my younger self, is that I would have asked my brain to shush the noise and, believe in myself more. I wish I had done that. Not that I don't do, but I wish I had, shushed that noise in my brain, which kept telling me that, maybe you shouldn't do this. But I think take more chances, take as many chances as you can.
So are there any online tools or app that you found very useful in your own business, or maybe on your personal life or your personal improvement journey?
Of course, we're recording a podcast, and of course, I'm a podcast fan. So,
wow, awesome! Apple Podcasts.
Yes, Apple Podcasts is something which I listen to. I try doing that in the morning when I'm cleaning the house or running around my house chores, because it's a good way to start my day. Listening to something that inspires me and something I can learn from. And besides that, I think, if you ask me work-wise and workout-wise, there are a lot of but activity apps that I use. And I have recently been working on something which is going to come out in a few days, and I can't talk about it technically. But maybe we need another episode on that.
That's a Germany shooting thing, guys. You gotta watch her Instagram at Nidhi Mohan Kamal. That's her Instagram handle. Go and check her, and you can watch that vlog and a lot of photo shoots. That's what I understand from what she has shared on that vlog. But I don't know yet. As she said, she cannot talk about that. So so she has got a very, very beautiful Instagram profile with a lot of tips and techniques. And as she said, like Desi muscle movement, where you have to work out every single day, just move for 5 minutes or maybe 10 minutes, or give time for yourself. And she's gonna ask you every single day, did you move? And you gotta answer her. And she's inspiring a lot of people out there, and a lot of people are responding to her question every single day. And I think that number is around 70% now. 70% people started saying yes.
Yes, it's 73 now. So I'm 73. Proud of everyone.
That's awesome. And it was only 50% when you started?
Yeah, it was about 50 when we started day one.
Awesome. So Nidhi, I have one question left for you. But before that, if people want to learn more about you and get in touch with you, and maybe want to do fat freezing or any other service that you offer, what's the best possible way that they can reach out to you?
You can log on to our website, and that's www.nidsun.org.
That's where.
Yes, you can log on to
Nidhi.
you can just Google me, find me on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, and I think you can
She's
connect.
everywhere.
Yeah.
She's everywhere. And most importantly, she is like killing it on Instagram stories. I mean, I love the expression that you gave on Instagram. I mean, where did you learn that?
I don't know. I think drama just comes naturally.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of your, viewers or audience love that because, the effects and the expressions that you share on Instagram stories, they are beautiful. I mean, I love them all.
Thank you.
Nidhi, now this is the last question.
Mm-hmm.
Now you may want to close your eyes because I'm going to take you on an imagination.
Okay.
So,
I'm ready.
Imagine that you are standing in front of millions of people on the biggest stadium ever built on the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
And every single, seat on that stadium is occupied and people are sitting there and they are looking with their eyes wide open and very eagerly and passionately they want to listen to you and they want to hear you. And you are given with only 1 minute of time to share most important lesson or most important thing that you have learned in your life. What would you say to those people listening to you?
Yeah, I would tell all of those people just one thing, that never let anyone tell you that you can't do something. If you have a dream, you have to believe in that dream before anyone else does, and you just have to go out there and again, burn all the bridges behind you and believe that that's going to happen, and listen to no one else, nothing else, not even the noise of your own brain, and just go for it. You'll have lots of ups and downs, but eventually you'll be really happy that you made that decision.
Just go for it. You are amazing,
Yes.
Nidhi. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me here, and I love the way you've conducted this podcast. Looking forward to much more.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you learned some new things about fitness and nutrition. If you did, make sure that you share this episode with your friends by visiting theinspiringtalk.com/3131. Also make sure to follow The Inspiring Talk on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Also follow Nidhi on her Instagram and watch her videos on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you in the next. Now go out there and do something inspiring.